fam? It's your girl All Things Dads, and I am back with another video. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But if you're not, you already part of the gang, so you already know what it is. But without further ado, as you guys can see by the title of this video, it's about 6 money mistakes to avoid in your 20s. So if you want to get that bag and it's time to level up, make sure you keep watching this video, okay? So right into topic number 1. So number 1, first money mistake not to make in your 20s. The first thing that I have on my list not to make in your 20s is multiple credit cards, okay? I'm not saying don't go get a credit card, because at the end of the day, we as young adults, it's so important to build your credit. It's so important to build your credit because you want to be able to buy a house, you want to be able to get that first apartment you want, which we're going to get to that. And you want to just be able to do anything you want and get that new car, get whatever you want. And in order to do that, you need a good credit score. So you need to build credit. But the problem that I've seen with a lot of young adults while getting credit cards is that they, first of all, they get multiple credit cards, then they max out these credit cards, and that causes them to mess up their credit score. So the first, number 1 mistake to avoid in your 20s is multiple credit cards, okay? If you know that you really can't afford to keep up with your credit card payments, or you can't afford 3 credit cards, then don't get 3 credit cards. You need to have 1 credit card, and you need to be responsible with the 1 credit card you do have. So for example, the 1 credit card that I do have, I spend it on gas, and I'll spend that on my gas for the month, and then I'll just pay that right off. So as soon as I get the bill, I just pay it in full, so that way it can increase my credit. So if you're getting these bills and you got 3 credit cards that you just maxed out and you're not paying on them, or you're just paying the minimum, it's actually going to hurt your credit, and it's just no good. I see a lot of people get into all this credit card debt, and they end up being like, oh my god, my credit's messed up because I had all these credit cards and and then they can't do what they want to do, and they can't live how they want to live because they don't have good credit. So number 1 mistakes to avoid in your 20s is using credit cards to diminish your credit, okay? We're going to use credit cards. We're building our credit. We're making sure our credit's A1 in 2020, and that's just it. So make sure if you are having a credit card, you are paying off the full amount. You're using it responsibly, and you're not just out here spending money. Because I know so much people who just took out all these credit cards, and now they're just sitting there like, boo-boo the fool, like, what am I doing? So make sure when you get a credit card, you use it responsibly, because there's nothing wrong with getting a credit card. I know when I first started building my credit, I wasn't aware, because I didn't come from a background where people really built their credit, or they taught you how to build their credit. Like my parents didn't really teach me that, so it was something I had to learn on my own how to do. But at the end of the day, it's always better to have credit. So there's nothing wrong with building credit. There's nothing wrong with getting a credit card, but please use your credit card responsibly, okay? So that's going to bring us to number 2. The second thing you should avoid spending your money on, or money mistakes to avoid in your 20s. Number 2 is high car payments, okay? Like, I cannot stress this enough. Like, this is a major key. All right, so if you have a car payment, your car payment should take about 10% of your income. So if you're making $5,000 a month, your car payment, including your car payment with your car insurance, it should be no more than $500. If it is over that much, you are spending way too much on a car, all right? This is a mistake I see people make all the time. Everybody want to be cool. Everybody want to drive foreigns. Everybody want to drive the latest whip. You want that brand new thing. But at the end of the day, what is it doing for you? If you're spending $600 or $700 on a car, you're making about $2,000 a month. You're struggling. You're in the struggle. We don't want to go out like that. That's not a good look. It's not cute. You're looking dusty. We're not doing that, okay? So at the end of the day, if you're going to have a car payment, make sure that the car payment suits you. You get what I'm saying? Don't have this high car payment. I see so much people, they want to drive like the newest cars. They drive all this stuff. Meanwhile, priorities messed up. You're still living with your parents. You don't know what you're doing. You're spending all your money on this 1 car just to look cool, or just to keep up with the Joneses, and it's not a good look. Like me personally, right now I have a car payment, but before that, every car that I had, I owned. Only reason why I ended up getting a car payment was because I had to. I had no other choice, because my transmission went on my last car. But otherwise, then I wouldn't have got a car payment. Because why? Well, all that money keep going in your pocket. I don't care who see me in what. As long as my car is drivable and it's taking me from destination to destination, I am all good, okay? So at the end of the day, do not spend so much money on a high car note just to be like, I drive a Mercedes, or I drive an Audi, or I drive a Benz. Because 9 times out of 10, what I'm noticing is people who drive these super luxurious cars, they not doing good in real life. They looking bad. And we don't want to be like them. We want to be better. Okay? So make sure that if you have a car payment and your car insurance, your car payment and your car note together, is 10% of your pay. You do not want to be spending more than 10%, because otherwise then you're struggling. You're struggling, and that's not a good look, all right? So the third thing we're going to get into that I've been wanting to touch on, because, you know, I've been seeing it just a lot on my timeline lately with me just joining Twitter, and I see so much people saying like, you know, I'm getting an apartment, like I'm excited, like I'm getting an apartment, like this is the goal, like this, my goal is to get an apartment, to move out, which I completely understand, because I have my own space. But people, like, let's be real. The goal is not to get an apartment. That's not the goal. The goal was never to be an apartment owner. The goal is to be a home owner. Want to say it with me? Let's say it together. 3, 2, 1. Home owner. That was always the goal. The goal was never to own an apartment. Now, you might say I'm being judgmental right now because I'm in my own apartment, right? But it's a difference. In 2021, I'm going to be a homeowner, okay? So it's different. If you could get an apartment and still maintain a, my bad guys, I got cut off by my sister. But if you guys could afford to live in your apartment and still become a homeowner, then more power to you, because, you know, that's all I'm doing, and at the end of the day, it's nothing wrong with that. But if you're just going into an apartment just to say you got an apartment, just to say you live on your own, then it's not really that smart, because you would have just saved more money living with your parents and then becoming a homeowner than having an apartment and you're still paying all these bills. Because let me tell you, having your own stuff is not easy. So you having your own apartment, you're still paying bills, and then you can't save up money to ever become a homeowner, and that was never the goal. So at the end of the day, what I advise anyone, if you don't have to move out, if you don't have to live with your parents, if you don't have to live without your parents, and you're not living in a toxic environment with your parents, and you have a good relationship with them, then why move out? Why spend all that extra money when you could be saving money, and then you buy a house, and that's something that you own? That's an investment. A house is an appreciating asset, okay? And as I said before, with a car is a depreciating asset. You can have a car, and as soon as you pull that car off the lot, whether it's a Mercedes, a G-Wagon, whatever the car is, that car is going to depreciate. But if you have a house, that's an appreciating asset, and it's going to just bring you in money rather than taking money away from you, as a car or something else will do. So as I said before, or as I said just now, make sure that you are trying to own a house. You know what I'm saying? Don't just move out just to be like, oh, I moved out, I have my own apartment, because at the end of the day, you're just putting into money that's something that's not yours, and eventually you're going to want something that is yours. So that is something to avoid. Don't just be paying an apartment rent just because you want to be down and cute, or you want to have people be like, oh my gosh, she have her own place, she got her stuff together. No, because when you get that house, baby, let me tell you, because even with me, when I close, baby, price is going up. Price is up. So yeah, make sure that when you are investing your money, you're really investing it on appreciating assets, and you're not investing it on stuff that will depreciate, like cars and apartments and stuff that has no real value. It's just there for the time being. Okay? So 4, oh my gosh, I cannot stress this one enough. It's like, nah. But what I will say about this one is I see it so much, and I just want to talk about it just briefly, and that's designer. Okay, like I see so much people wearing all these name brand clothes, you know, and don't get me wrong, if you could buy two or three pair of Balenciaga shoes or 2 or 3 Chanel bags, sis, bro, whoever you are, like, yes, I'm trying to be on that level. But if you can't, and you just out here buying designer. You got one pair of each item just because, and you 29. You got every pair of Balenciagas or every pair of little things, and you still living with your parents. Your priorities are messed up. Like, let's just talk about it. I see so much people with designers stepping into poverty, and it's ridiculous. Like, no shade, okay? But I see so much people wearing designer, and low-key they're stepping into poverty, don't have no assets, they don't have nothing to show for it except designer. Now, granted, some things, like if you have what's that, a Hermes bag or something, those people, bags like that, they pay more for eventually when you sell them. But if you don't got no, 9 times out of 10 you watching this video, you ain't got no Hermes bag, so let's be real. So let's just get right to the tea. You should not be spending money on designer if you, one, cannot buy more than one of it, and two, let's just talk about it. Designer goes out of style. It be people spending so much money on designer, like, and I've seen it. I've seen so much guys touch so much money, and all they invested their money on, they don't have no business show for it, nothing. All they got is last year's designer, okay? And that's bad. That's terrible. So if you have money and you're investing it in the wrong ways, you're investing in designer. Meanwhile, next couple months it's gonna be out of style, but you don't got no business to your name, nothing. But you're supposed to be getting real money. I mean, it's not adding up. It's just really not adding up. The money, it's just not adding up. So that's all I want to say about that whole thing. I'm not gonna go too much into that as far as just going too much into it. But you already know what it is if you're on my channel. We trying to level up. We getting this bag. We money managing. Okay, we buying houses. We flipping property. We doing all that. We leveling. We not spending money on unnecessary things that's not benefiting us. And again, designer is not an appreciating asset. It's not gonna go, and you're not gonna have this designer shirt that's gonna be worth twice as much in a couple years. It's just not happening. So again, make sure you're spending money and you're investing your money. If you're not going to invest it into an asset, invest it into yourself, which you are your asset, period. You secure yourself. But make sure you invest into yourself before you invest into anything. All right? Okay. All right. So that was number 4. Now 5, I have here college, okay? Now, before anybody chews me up, there's nothing wrong with college. I went to college. I had one of my degrees, and I just decided not to go back. But there's nothing wrong with college, because for what I want to do, I don't need college. But that's exactly what I'm about to get into. There's nothing wrong with colleges. For some degrees, you need college. You want to be a nurse? You need to go to college. You want to be a lawyer? You need to go to college, okay? You want to be business person, you don't need to go to college. All right, okay, but you could if you want to educate yourself more on the background, but you don't have to go to college. So that's what I want to get into. I see so much people, and I have so much friends who've graduated from college, and they're in debt. Sally Mae want their money, okay? They want their money from them. They're in debt. They owe so much money, but they can't even pay it because their career doesn't pay as much as they thought that it did, or they're not even making enough to pay their student loans back. You get what I'm saying? Or their career is just not in high demand. So I feel like if you're gonna go to college for like art and history or like communications or something like that, that's not something you really want to be in debt for, if that makes sense. Like, you don't want to go to college and if you're an art and history major, that's not in high demand. You might as well go get a trade to be an electrician or something of that nature, because everybody's always going to need an electrician, but ain't nobody nobody's always going to need an art and a history major. It's just not that, it's not a necessity to have, if you get what I'm saying. It's not a job that's in high demand. So if you're going to spend your hard-earned money on paying for college tuition, first of all, this is so important, make sure you know what you want to do, okay? That's number 1, because a lot of times you get into college, you be in there for, you start your first 2 years thinking, okay, this is what I want to do. Then that's really not what you want to do. Then you change your major, and now you're sitting there for 2 extra years trying to catch up on this major. Now you doubling the price of your tuition, and it just gets ridiculous. So 1, make sure you know what you want to do before you go to college, okay? And two, make sure what you want to do, you have to go to college for. If it's not a necessity, if you don't have to go to college for, or if your career is not in high demand, I do not expect you to go get in $200,000 or $150,000 debt for a degree or a piece of paper that once you get, you're going to be spending your whole life trying to pay your way out of it. Like, and that's just real life. Like, I know so many people who went to college and they're not even working in their degree. They got other jobs just to try to feed their family. So again, make sure that if your investment is college, that it's something you can really invest into, and it's something that you have to go to college for and that you need, because you don't want to be sitting there at the end of the day, once those 4 years are over, thinking, wow, I have a piece of paper and what to do with it, and you don't know. It's a waste of time. So don't do that. So that was number 5. And the last one, okay, because I wanted to make this video nice, short, and sweet. The last one is contributing to your 401k, all right? Now, this is something you should do in your 20s, and I don't see a lot of 20-year-olds or people in their 20s doing it, all right? And when I first started my job, I think when I first started my job, and I started putting them into my 401k. I didn't even start putting them into my 401k when I first started my job. When I first started my job, I was like 19, and I did not start putting them into my 401k because it just wasn't a priority to me. I wasn't thinking about it, and I didn't want them to get into my check. Whatever. But what I learned over time was, even working there, now I'm 23, and I've been there for so long, and I did start putting into my 401k when I got like 20, but it took for a couple of the older people at my job to have talked to me like, you know, you should really start putting into your 401k now. You don't want to wait. You get what I'm saying? And blase, blase. And that's a lot of mistakes I see 20-year-olds make. They'll have a good job in their 20s and they don't start putting into their 401k until they're like 30 years old. No, because you're missing like $100,000. You're probably missing more than $100,000 because you done took 10 years off of what you were supposed to do. If you get a good job in your 20s, whether it's 25, whether it's 20, whether it's 21, whether it's 26, whether it's 28, as soon as you get that good job, start putting into your 401k, because retirement is real, all right? Especially with all like the presidents and everything that's going on now. Retirement is real, and you want to make sure you're good. You want to make sure you're secure. You want to make sure that when you retire, you're good, okay? You don't want to be struggling in your 90s, because again, I work for healthcare and it's so hard, especially if you're getting Medicare, Medicare don't cover everything. So you want to make sure you're good and you got that extra money to yourself and you're good. So make sure you put into your 401k early, okay? Don't make the mistake of waiting too long and realizing, wow, I don't have a 401k, or wow, I could have had so much more if I would have just started earlier. You get what I'm saying? Make sure we are investing our money right and we're doing the right things, all right? So those are 6 money mistakes to avoid in your 20s.